All right, so I think it's fine now, and let us start the complex analysis. We couldn't have some classes, so I'm giving you some homework, and these things that you have to take care of your own. So the first one is stereographic projection, right? This is a very simple and written in every book. Whatever, even if you open any normal textbook, stereographic projection are written. Even you don't need it, but if you want, you can look at it. Okay. Another thing is that we are in the last two lectures, we were working on the conformal map and Mobius map, right? So in conformal map and the Mobius map, so for example, if suppose we have a map, conformal map of A, B, C, D, and here Z comma 1, then if I ask you, can you tell me what is the F inverse Z? Then what will be your answer? Tell me. It should be, yes. Tell me the inverse. Yes. Anybody? So it should come out D, it will be A, it will be minus B, it will be minus C. Okay. Is it fine? सर आई इन क्लास. हाँ हाँ बोलिए. मैं क्लास में हूँ अभी. बोलो. मुझे मेल आईडी नहीं, तो आप मुझे मेल आईडी नहीं पता मुझे आपकी. ओके ओके. तो आप मुझे भेज दे सकते हो मेल आईडी, लिख दो व्हाट्सएप पे. ठीक ठीक. ओके ओके. हाँ आप कर रहे हो. Guys, give me 1 second. There is some mail is there. Just give me 1 second. Anyway, so what I'm telling that if we have this is a map, how will you find the inverse? So the inverse will be like this, right? Or is there anyway? You tell me your inverse. How will you find the inverse of this matrix? Just tell me. Write the inverse of this matrix, please below. And give me just 2 minutes. And please you write the inverse. Yes, so I want to see your inverse, please guys. हाँ, so मैंने भेज दिया, चेक कर लें. Okay, okay. Okay, yeah, guys. So, I just think my class now. So, okay, so yeah, tell me your inverse, guys. How will you find the inverse? Anybody? Anyway, so what I want to tell you that usually suppose this is a matrix. So if I have a map Fz is equal to A, Az. So suppose A is a matrix. So usually what we used to do that A inverse is equal to, we used to calculate adjoint A upon mod A, right? This is what we used to calculate. In the when we are working for the Mobius transformation, whenever we have a one map is given, whenever we are writing the F inverse Z, you don't write this. We don't need it. It will not play any role here. So remove this. Just simply write adjoint A. So just take the adjoint of this and keep it here. So that will be our inverse. Okay. So, all right, I think it is fine. So you don't need to write this part. Denominator don't need. Or if you want to see, or if you want to know why this does not play any role, you can just check out. I mean, if you have a matrix, if you multiply some constant multiple, that will be again a conformal map that will not play any role for the conformality. So in your exam, like some map will be given, they will ask you the inverse. So even it is the inverse, of course it is inverse, I mean you can write something else here also. But in your exam, in the NBHM and CSIR, then in option, there will be one option, none of the above, right? And one option will be like this. So you should not be confused. This is also a Mobius map and this is also inverse. So you will choose that here, this is also. So you will click this. That's what I want to tell you. Okay. Anyway, so this you have to do, and there is one more part here. One thing still remains, this Mobius and conformal terms and everything got over. We had also discussed how the map look like. We had discussed sine, cos, exponential, logarithmic. Each thing we had discussed in proper ways, right? In interview, sometime or in NBHL, they will ask how the map of exponential look like, how the map of logit look like. So now you are aware how it look like, right? Remaining map are not that much complicated. You can handle your own. The one thing still remains that how you construction, that I had again mentioned you. Construction I didn't get time and it will not take even. So I am deciding that we will discuss it during the problem session. Problem session means during your test series. Okay. Or if you have any doubt, you can send me. We will solve it and send it to you. It is very simple. Once you just aware like this upper half plane or lower half plane, right half plane, this half plane going to the unit disk. This, if you are aware this, I mean we had already discussion what is the map that's sending upper half plane to the unit disk or lower half plane to the unit disk. What is the relation, how the map, the remaining map will be nothing, just composition of this. Suppose I am giving a region and I ask you, tell me, I want to send on the, suppose I want to send on the mod z less than or equal to 2. Tell me a map that is sending to this. So what we will do that, instead of sending to here, first I will do that, I will send this map to the upper half plane or the unit disk. First we will construct a map, we will send it to here, and then once we are here, now we know how to come here. And then again I will find a map from here to here, and then we will take a composition. So in order to discuss the construction of the conformal map, this is very simple. Just ignore this 4 map. This composition of 4 map will give you all the kind of the construction. Okay. Also, there is a one result known as the Picard theorem. If you remember, Picard theorem. Have 2, one is the great and one is the little theorem. Anybody know what is the Picard theorem? I will also discuss in ordinary differential equation also. I will use this to find out the solution of non-linear differential equation. I will use this to find out the non-linear differential equation. Picard. Here, so this is the homework that this Picard and this Picard are same or not. Again, I am telling one result, the main application of this is in the ordinary differential equation. In complex analysis, the Picard has 2 results. One is the little, one is the great Picard theorem. Here, this is actually that is not that much important because Picard play vital role in advanced complex analysis. So we don't need to go deeply. But anyway, so what did the Picard theorem say? Anybody please? Yes. What is Picard little theorem and what is Picard Great theorem. Yes, tell me, anybody? Yes. So I want to see the messages that you guys are sending. No response. Why is it? Do you need some response? Tell me, anybody? Bolo ji. There is no response in the text message. Please reply. No response. Okay, so what is the little theorem? If f is a function defined from C to C and f belongs to the holomorphic of C, meaning the function is entire, then f of C, what is this? This is the range, right? Range of a holomorphic function under f can omit at most one point. If more than one, then f is equal to the constant function. Okay. Any problem? Anybody? Haji, tell me if I plan it out or contradicting any results. Okay, somebody want to look. There is a extension on the C hat also. This is the homework for you. What will be the Picard-Little theorem on the C hat? So anyway, this is for entire function. All right. So I think there are some reply. Yes. So yeah, non-constant entire function f assume all values with yes, very nice. Yeah. All entire function can possibly emit one value. Yes. Every entire function leave at most one point in C. All right. So these are the results. Some application you can look. I am not discussing here in deeply because this didn't. This is not in your course, right? Because these are the some topic of the advanced complex analysis. Otherwise, I can discuss in deeply because this is my area. And also, if you want to look at like the extension of this on the C hat also you can see, or there are two categories. I mean type of the function. There are the one way is people say meromorphic function, and here a rational function, right? Meromorphic function and the rational function. Sometimes they will ask the Picard-Little theorem. Little theorem for meromorphic function. So here answer will be simple. So f is suppose meromorphic, or you can take simply m belong to the holomorph. No. Let m be a meromorphic. Then meromorphic on C. Then no. And the range of f minus 3 point A, B, C implies that f is constant. Meaning that I will tell you the later what is a meromorphic function are. Any meromorphic function omitting 3 point will then implies that f must be the constant. So for you, again one homework, let me know why here 3 point is essential. So there are one difference if you notice. For entire omitting 2 point, function is forcefully or f will be a constant function, but for meromorphic, if I reduce 3 point, then f will be a constant function. Removing means f omitting. Sorry for that, I missed the line. Again, if meromorphic function omitting 3 point, it will be constant. If entire function omitting 2 point, it will be a constant function. Right? So, okay. Yes. So, this is the homework for you. Why? What is the, I mean, what is happening here if you remember? Something is happening about this definition, nothing more than that. Okay. So, anyway, let us see what is the meromorphic function and what is the rational function. So, let's see. So do not worry, these all the problems we will discuss in detail, and not that I am escaping, still you have a right to ask the question anytime. So you can write one question, limit z tending to infinity of f is equal to finite, right? Then the first option, f is constant, f is constant almost everywhere, you know, right? Almost everywhere. F is equal to constant. The fourth one is none of the above. Tell me the answer.
F is constant, F is countable. F is constant.
Yes, think 2 minutes, please.
Constant. F is constant. F is
Yes, guys, think fast. Everyone, please try. I can tell you one thing. If you remember, your exam is not possible. Yeah, so there are people are replying very good. I'm happy. Your CSIR exam is not possible till end of August. Alright. So till August there will not be any class. Sorry, till August CSIR exam is not possible. So there are two ways. Anyway, we will finish your course anyhow. My target is at most is not crossed to the 15 August. That is my deadline. So make sure that once you have a confidence and you have a test of the mind. I mean, once you tested how to act the problem, and uh, if you, I mean, if you now aware, if you are able to make a question based on previous year problems, then that is a really good sign, right? So syllabus is same. What the teachers are doing, I remember when I was in ISI, that time my boss, he had given this idea of the multiple choice. These are the options what I must finalize from the ISI. So that is also intuitive, right? If I can ask you individually, so definitely everyone have their own idea. You will say, we can project this, we can project this, we can project this. So once you have this idea, so I mean syllabus is same. We cannot ask any question out of the syllabus, right? So what we have to do, as I believe, we have to do the applications only. I mean that if we can look or if we can think all possible implications, I think that is the only way to get a good rank either in CSIR or NBHM. But the problem is, he is asking something, you are studying something else. This is the difference. If you are thinking that if you are able to solve a 10-year problem and you will get good rank, this is your mistake. Until unless you understand, if you look at the 1-year problem, 2018, and if you are able to figure out how much changes in the next year problem, I mean, what are the applications, right? And what else application are possible, and that will give you the selection. Anyway, so all right, I think people have answered. So let us see. So the answer is, yeah. So there are many answers. I'm happy. So yeah, 4 measure of finite set is 0. Yes, 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 yes. Option 2. Yes. So here, if you ask my answer will be this. The fourth one. Also, anyway, so you have to work on. I mean, again, try homework. Again, 5. Alright. At every point, every time, I always used to mention, please think. Right? That is important. Answer is not important. I gave the answer 4, but you should do hard work and think out some like question and discard this. You cannot believe, and 3-4 times there are students, and there was some question, especially regarding the quantum, this dynamical system. Not dynamical system, in classical mechanics, in your there are syllabus are there. There are 2 questions. We had requested, they cancelled it, right? And it was very silly mistake. Or some boy dot was not there, that didn't represent the, I mean, the coordinate system. So in CSIR also, once you have given exam, you should have a capability to, I mean, explain and tell them this is wrong. Right? It happened many times. If you are not telling, you will not get mark also. Anyway, so let us make some changes here. F finite also, you can add F belong to the holomorphic of C. Right? So we have a holomorphic function, not necessarily only holomorphic. This is a great need that F is entire function and finite limit. Then tell me the answer. So people are replying. Yes. Very good. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I am happy that the way you are thinking, that is the essential thing. And so tell me now the function is entire. Then it is very essential whenever you are answering. First you read the question, what else are given, and then proceed for the answer. Okay. Anyway, anybody have any doubts? So please tell me now. So tell me the answer, please. Everyone think. how much you are thinking this will be essential, this will be with you forever. Okay. So what is your answer? Reply Ji. I want to look your answer Ji. Please reply everyone. So here the answer will be the first one. F will be constant everywhere. Right? Also you can say a function, holomorphic function have limit at infinity. You also can say the possible singularity or the cavity can be what is? Tell me, what kind of cavity possible if function have limit? That is a very simple answer, right? Not infinity at anywhere. If limit exists, the singularity can be only removable. No other singularity possible. Okay? This is by definition. And we know that if function is constant, then limit always exists. So it is both side true. Anyway, so what is the meromorphic function? So there are many ways we can write. So meromorphic function can have the type of cavity in C, whole singularity only. Here, type of cavity in C has whole only. This implies that meromorphic function, every meromorphic function, I mean this rational function have pole singularity in the Riemann sphere, Riemann surface, and Riemann surface. So you can say that this in C. So we know that C is a subset of C hat, right? So this implies that I can say the rational function also can be say is meromorphic function, right? On C. They will agree. Or by definition, we know a function is called a rational if it can be written as Pz over Qz, where Pz is polynomial and the Qz is polynomial. Anyway, so all right. And if I have sometime in interview, they will ask you also what is the problem? Problem is Pz by Qz. If I'm asking the limit even at infinity, so I mean if Qz, what are the possibilities? This is the Pz is a polynomial over the Qz. Pz is a polynomial, have limit everywhere on the Riemann sphere. No problem. Qz is also a polynomial, have limit everywhere. The only problem is where this function Qz will be 0, then this whole Rz will have a pole singularity. That's why a rational function have only the pole singularity in the Riemann sphere. Tell me. So, yeah, any doubt anybody? No. So these are the types meromorphic function. For example, I can write sin z is a meromorphic function, right? You can ask why sin z is meromorphic function. Tell me. I am writing an example of meromorphic function. The third one, cos 1 over z. This is not meromorphic function. Why? Z is equal to 0 is essential singularity. But for meromorphic inside C, the function should have only which kind of similarity? Only the pole similarity. Here Z is equal to 0 is essential similarity, so this is not. 1 over sin Z is meromorphic. 1 over cos Z is meromorphic. Many more functions we can write. So these are the meromorphic functions, but these are not rational functions. Because at infinity there is a problem. If you see the sin Z, if I ask you why the sin Z is not a meromorphic function, suppose if they ask in the interview also, you will say very simply and normal answer, sir. If I want to calculate Z tending to infinity, see, along imaginary axis, you will go to the infinity, but along real axis, it will oscillate between plus and minus 1. Limit does not exist everywhere. That's why your rational function, this is not a rational function. Alright, anyway, we have seen it properly, what is the zeros, what is the period, under what condition it will go. Okay, so I think there are some answers, I can look at it. But yes, think on it properly again. One. Yeah, so I think this is sufficient. And you have to try. This is these are simple observations, right? But do not read it as just whatever I have written. It cannot be the part of you until unless you are. I mean, you are able to create some more question. You can ask some doubt if you have. That is the only way to learn. So it is good that you are asking to me, and it is also possible that I can't answer every question, right? I am also a human being. So yeah, but I will try, or if I am not able to answer, definitely we will think together, and I am 100% sure the answer will come out. So anyway, my voice is, I can't increase too much. So I am already after bed rest, so I should not speak more and more. It is good that you guys also speak a little bit. Anyway, so all right. So this is fine, and now, so let us finish the complex analysis with some nonsense topic that is not needed at all. That I hate that topic, but anyway, it will give you a pleasure that you will happy. Usually, other in coaching or everywhere they start teaching that topics and it's from beginning. So the name is the Cauchy integral formula. Cauchy integral formula. These are the simple formulas written the geometry everywhere. Wherever you will go, you will get so many significant. Even if you Google it, you will get proper explanation. What is it? What is the use? But this is my humble request. Throughout your complex analysis, never use this. If you are a good student and you want selection, never use this nonsense formula. But of course, I need some application of it. That's why I am writing here. Okay. And that application is like maximum modulus principle and some Liouville theorem. Otherwise, I would have never touched this. It was the case when, like Nokia, if you remember, sorry, not Nokia, Motorola, right? And I was, I don't know, which class, I was very small in my home. the first phone came Motorola, so wireless kind of thing, right? We are so happy. Hey, we have phone. I miss that time when in Delhi nobody used to have phone. So anyway, let us write it, and I believe that you all are aware. So please write the Cauchy integral formula. The thing is, you just remember sometimes, especially for assistant professor, during interview they always ask. So that find it, this whole the theory are based for simply connected domain. I had already mentioned what is a simply connected domain, otherwise you Google it. You all are smart student because you are using the digital platform better than digital. Usually people call digital the recorded videos used to live telecast, right? But this is an interactive session, interactive line online classes. You are more advanced version. This you can search on it. You will get, I had already described you what is a simply connected domain and what is a multiply connected domain. I had given you example mod z less than 2 and greater than 1. This is the multiply connected. Means outside of the unit this and inside the unit this. So this is the region. If we can press or if we can push from outside and it shrink to a point, definitely it will go outside of the domain. We say it is a multiply connected. Or simply if I say a domain, a region without hole is known as a simply connected. A region with hole, we say it is a doubly connected. If we have 2 holes, doubly connected have 3, then triply connected, and so on. There are many ways. Okay. One more thing is a simple point curve. So if I ask you, see, this is problem for me. If I write something, it will put use and use. I can put many questions. So see, if you write here, simple closed curve, my brain will always just stuck here. What is curve? If I ask you what is curve, what will you say? Right, closed we know. Closed means once it starts, it should be end. Simple means it should not cut itself. Right? There should not be any intersection. So simple means this is simple. This is simple but not closed. Now this is a simple and closed both. So what is the curve actually? Anybody? Anybody can answer, please? What is curve actually? If somebody asks you, what will you answer? And do not believe that, do not answer my question from book or anything. Just give me your intuition. If I want, I can give you hint. Something kind surface, something kind volume, and something called hypervolume. These are related quantities. Haji, somebody can help me out? Yes. So anyways, I think you guys are not replying. So anyways, let us tell you something. So simply if asked, you can say, hey, the curve is a locus of point with position vector is a function of single parameter, right? The simple answer. Surface, position vector is a function of double parameter, triple parameter, and more than that, then we say hypervolume. Anyway, so there are many ways we can define, but these are the abstract way to say. So these are the simple closed curve. Now you are aware that we will use it. So anyway, so tell me what is the Cauchy integral formula. So let F is holomorphic on a region this, which is a simply connected domain. That is a very important. If it is not simply connected, during interview, my old age professors are there, like we have our NGO team, they are research scientists, in TFR. They are so strict, right? They will follow a rule. So this is my humble request. Whenever you say, you always mention this simply connected domain. Otherwise, these formulas are not valid. So there you should be mentioned. Do not mention or suppose analytic on D and then something. Do not say like this. You should use the simply connected domain. This is important. Also mention if they ask what about the simply connected domain. If we replace, you say then formula is not valid. Okay. So f is a holomorphic function on a simply connected domain D. Then any circle or any simple closed curve gamma D function, the nth derivative of the function at point z0 is equal to, anybody can tell, integral f of z over z minus z0 power n plus 1 into dz upon n factorial upon 2 pi iota. It is correct or some term? Yes. I think it is all right. Where also mention in anti-clockwise on the curve gamma. If you want, n is also mentioned, n is the derivative, not a power. So if I put the zero derivative, so zero not means zero. Zero is the zero derivative, that will come out the 1. Fz0, it will be 1 upon 2 pi iota integral over gamma fz upon z minus z0 dz. That's what you say. All right. Any doubts? Ask. Look at it. If you have any query, please ask me now. Anji. I hope there should not be any doubt, or if some doubt is there, please ask. Yes. Y seems fine for me. All right. So I think everything all right. Richa ji. Okay. So Richa, this time first rank, right? Okay, so note in your diary, Richa ji. This time rank first in NBHM, right? Anyway, this is a meaningless. In the NBHM, there is no such a rank. I mean that you should be. I mean, I like the NBHM fund. It's good, better, far better than CSIR. Okay, so let us do some application that is we are interested in, and so that is also you all are aware and gone through once. Anyway, it's good to write once at least. It's not bad. Here you guys are not asking questions, and I know that in other places in coaching people are not able to get chance to ask the question, right? So everything are different. Here I am always encouraging you ask question, right? So anyway, let us write the Cauchy inequality. That is the good Cauchy inequality. What is the Cauchy inequality? Is anybody some hint at least? Anybody? Cauchy inequality. Let f belong to the holomorphic on a simply connected domain D. Again, D must be the simply connected. That's what I always pointing out to you, that D should be the simply connected. This is the only essential thing that I am reminding you. Apart from this, there is no learning in this topic especially. Okay. So F must be the simply connected domain, and what should I write? Yes, so our function is holomorphic first class, and let a circle Z minus Z naught is equal to R. So D is a point, D is like that. So, and suppose this is a circle, center here Z naught, radius R. Okay. Again, mind it. This circle must be inside, not on the boundary also. Even if touching the boundary, the result fail. Hey, not applicable. That's all. This is a very essential should aware where we can apply, where we cannot apply. Sometimes they will give you a unit disk and they will give you a circle that will touch the boundary and they will ask you, then do not apply the Cauchy integral. Say clearly, sir, we are not able to apply the Cauchy integral formula on the boundary of unit disk if function is analytic on the unit disk only. This is applicable within. That is the important thing for you. During your research time, once you start construction, you have to look, your problem will be new. Then you need all the data, what else we needed. Then we will remember that it should be within, there should not be any problem inside. Even if a single hole is there, this formula will fail again. Okay. So, then, anybody, Fn, nth derivative of the function is less than or equal to mn factorial upon r power n plus 1, provided the function is less than or equal to m on d. Sometimes they can ask, so what is telling a bounded function on a domain D? Then the Cauchy inequality say this is nothing, we have some estimation. Right? If function is bounded, then we have some, if function is bounded, then we have a boundation of its derivative. That's what it is, nothing more than that. This is the homework for you. What about the converse? Meaning, if the derivative is bounded, what can you tell about the function? Cauchy integral give you a tool, hey, if function is bounded, then it will tell you the boundedness of its derivative. Now you tell me the boundedness of derivative, then tell me the function. This is the homework for you. Think on it. It is very simple observation, completely trivial. That's why it is not written in the book. In interview, they will ask immediately. You cannot say, sir, I didn't see some, right? These are answers will not be applicable there. Of course, honesty is a good policy. You can say you do not know, but you can say I do not know one question. You can say second question, but you cannot say all question you do not know, right? Wow, very nice. Okay, so all right. So let us see. It's very simple and normal proof is there. One line proof. So if you remember, the formula was something, right? Fz upon z minus z naught power n plus 1 and dz, right? N factorial upon 2 pi iota. This was your nth derivative at z naught. Take the center z naught. So we can calculate what we can calculate, Fz over c minus z naught power n plus 1. Take the mod. This is already less than or equal to m. On the, I am calculating on this region. So anyway, our function is bounded everywhere. This can be written as mod fz, or direct we can apply here. So this will be less than m. Z minus z naught. Z minus z naught is equal to r. So this will be r power n plus 1. All right. Now you can apply the formula here. So what will be nth derivative at z of the mod? Definitely the ones is equal to whole mod, and then once mod will go inside, right? N factorial upon 2 pi iota integral Fz upon z minus z naught raised to the power n into dz. This will be simply, now we take the mod inside. You are aware this is a very basic integration, right? I also remember in reading my interview, uh, you know, they asked one question in ISI interview. They asked some just basic of Fibonacci theorem, change of order of integration. So you also aware in ISI they always ask. I do not know. They asked 5 to 6 people same question. Fibonacci theorem, under what condition you can change the order of integration? That's what. Anyway, it was my project in ISI. So I had done this, extended this work for IMIS broad setup. So she applied this, what you will get, tell me. So this will come out your mn factorial upon this quantity r power n plus 1. This whole integration on this region, you just tell me what is the this of circle if you want to calculate this perimeter 2 pi r. So into pi also, so it will come out simply less than or equal to mn factorial upon r power n, right? Mn factorial over r power n. So that is your answer. What we got, simply the answer came out nth derivative of z less than or equal to mn factorial upon r power n. This is your Cauchy inequality. Cauchy estimate of its derivative. In GATE, you will get a question of 2 marks. In CSIR, you will not get any question. Okay. So, yeah, so our idea is here, again, let us see. Our function was analytic, it's given in a small region. Now, we are able to extend this concept when our function is entire. So now we are going to estimate or the Cauchy estimate for entire function. Let us calculate the Cauchy estimate for entire function. So how will you calculate? I want to know your idea. You have given Cauchy inequality fn of z less than or equal to mn factorial 1 r power n. This is given when function is analytic on domain D. Now, what about f belong to holomorphic of C? What should I do? What should I do? Anybody? Any hint? I am giving you 2 minutes. This is a very essential. Under what condition? How can I apply it? The Cauchy, if I can give you a hint, the hint is for n is equal to 1, n is equal to yes 1, f dash z will the modulus will be less than or equal to mn, n is equal to 1, right? So it will be 1 m by r. All right. For first derivative. So the result is entire and bounded function is constant. This is the Liauville's theorem. Okay. This is the theorem by the Liauville's. If I add one more word, then it will be Sturm-Liauville's, and that will come out again in OD, and that will give you the solution of boundary value problem. that we will discuss in detail that Strom-Liebowitz problem. So anyway, entire and bounded function are constant. This is a very simple observation you have gone through. You tell me what should I do actually? Anybody have any idea? During interview, do not say like this, sir. Function is analytic, then I can take the radius is r tending to infinity, then f dash it will go to j. I mean that if f is entire, then you can take r tending to infinity. Then what you will get? F dash z is equal to 0. And choice of z is arbitrary, right? For all z belong to C, implies that f is constant. This is what you want to conclude. Haji, I am giving you 1 minute. Please think and tell me. Is it correct? Haji. See, bounded is given, entire is given. Bounded means this m will be the fixed even if r tend to the infinity. So once it is bound, m is fixed, definitely r can be infinity, then first derivative will be 0, then f reduce the constant. It is correct way. Anybody? Reply please. Is it right way? Anyway, one way it looks it's fine, but don't apply in for in interview. Why it is wrong? Anybody can tell me why it is wrong? Haji. Anybody? No idea. Okay, so see. Yes. Okay, yes. And also I will tell you one more thing. That is also the one way. See, in first case your function was analytic, right? Analyticity on a domain. Then you applied this formula, I mean z minus z naught for the restricted domain. Once your system is very big, then I am giving you a hint, you can go and work, do some work. That is the only way to learn. Here you have to use uniqueness theorem. We are able to extend because if function are agree here, they will be agree outside also. And that is the only tool that allow you to, once you cannot say first of all are going to infinity. Once this function was defined for a small disk, this is the same function, or suppose it is a different, maybe it is different outside, but by the uniqueness theorem, if two functions are equal at the limit point, they will be same everywhere. Then with the help of this uniqueness theorem, you are concluding here. Anyway, so all right. So one question. The question is, if I can give you a polynomial, so yes. So if I can give you a polynomial p of z, of 3 degree, suppose this is the 4 degree, plus z cube plus z square plus z plus 1 equal to 0. Right? So my question is, can you say something about the factorization? Anybody? Yes, tell me. What is the fundamental theorem of algebra? See? What is the fundamental theorem of algebra? See? So fundamental theorem of algebra say that if Pz be a non-constant polynomial, then anybody, then the equation Pz is equal to 0, right? First it was polynomial. Once you put it is 0, it becomes equation. So again there are two questions. What is equation and what is identity? These are two very important things. What is equation? What is identity? Right? Even this is also homework. You can look at it. If you remember something about identity, I can tell you something. If you remember cylinder of two okay, so cylinder of two generator, cylinder of two seat. If you remember cylinder of two seat, the proof, if you have written, if you have seen the proof of this cylinder of two seat, I'm not sure, but I assume that the proof involves one very nice and very good result. The result is like that: there will be one equation, and the degree will be 2. In the proof of cylinder of two seat, there is a equation of degree 2. Even it was not a degree 2, just they assume actually it is degree 2, and they prove that it has a 3 root, not a 3 root. The given is fine for 3 conditions, or for x1, x2, x3, and then if the equation have solutions more than its degree, it will be converted to identity. So sometimes its question looks odd, it looks nonsense. If I say I have a quadratic equation having the 3 distinct roots, can you tell me something now, a number of root of this equation? You will see infinite. Then it will no longer equation, it become identity. Right? So whole complex number, where the systems is defined, everything will be the solution. Okay. These are the questions that can be asked during your interview. It depends on the professor. Everyone definitely will not ask. So we have a polynomial. The fundamental theorems of algebra will say if Pz is a polynomial, then the Pz is equal to 0 has a root in C. This is the statement. The proof. But instead of telling a root, I want to modify this statement. See, if this is a polynomial, if I can get one root, if I apply this, suppose we do not know, apply this. This is a polynomial of degree 4 by the fundamental theorem of algebra. It has a root, right, in C. Then definitely, if root is z is equal to a, then how our equation will look like? It will look like z minus a into a polynomial of z cube and so on, something, right? Right? We have one root, then we can write like this. Now apply this again polynomial, apply this fundamental theorem of algebra, then z minus a, z minus b, again this is 3 degree, now it become a 2 degree, and so on. So instead of telling it has a root, I can say the number of root is equal to the degree of polynomial. That's what I want to say. Is it fine? So fundamental theorem of algebra, some people say it is extension. I do not know why. There is no reason. I think you can conclude directly. Pz is any polynomial. Then the equation Pz equal to 0 has how many roots? How many solutions? Definitely it will have a, if it is 3 degree, then it will have a 3 root. If it is 4, then it will have a 4 root. If somebody want to look the proof of this, so anyway, right now if you see any textbook, the use of maximum modulus principle they use. Not maximum modulus principle. They use the Liouville theorem. Right. So I am telling just brief explanation. Suppose P is a polynomial. Right. We have to prove it has at least one root. Suppose it do not have any root. Then we can write 1 over Pz. All right. We can apply limit z tending to infinity. It will tend to the 0. Entire z tending to infinity, Pz tending to 0. What is the meaning of this? This implies that the away in the neighborhood of infinity, right? The function is bounded. This implies that when z is finite, this function definitely will be bounded. So bounded and entire, using the Liouville theorem, function is constant. That is the contradiction. We had already taken the polynomial should be the non-constant. Anyway, I do not like this proof. Anyway, if you have a very less time during the interview, you can use this. Another one, there is one algebraic proof. I'm not sure you can get in a normal textbook, but this is my humble request. You try. That is very interesting. I like this. Not involving a simple line of analysis. Analysis not needed. So the one proof was given, I mean that is not his proof completely. His name Professor A.R. Sastry from Mumbai. He have given, that is interesting, but that is not that much interesting. I am not agree. I mean, there are better proof can be written. So this is the homework. You can look at it and see if something is interesting there. If you have a time, otherwise leave it. Okay, so I should look first. There are some questions, some answer. Yes, so n-negative polynomial has at most n roots. Yes, yeah. Counting with the multiplicity. Okay, all right. So anyway, I know here so many people are already aware about the A.R. Sastry proof also. Some of the students I know very well. Okay. Yeah, Sastry is so boring person. Whenever he will get time, he will catch you and he will start showing your proof. This again. Anyway, so yes, the next point is maximum modulus principle. You can write minimum modulus principle. Okay. Anyway, in complex analysis, you cannot see one number is greater than 2. 2 plus iota, you cannot say it is greater than 2. Or 2 is greater than iota, we cannot say. Then, here, the maximum and minimum, the things are related to their modulus. That's why we use that term modulus here. Alright. You cannot say fz is greater than gz, but we can say the absolute value of fz is greater than the absolute value of gz. So the result is, if f is again analytic on a domain D, then the answer is simple again. So tell me the maximum modulus principle valid on simply connected domain or multiply connected domain. Haji. Yes. So f is a, suppose f is analytic function on a domain D. So the first thing is that, so if we are taking the modulus, so modulus of any number, can you tell me what will be the minimum? Definitely it should start from 0, correct? So the lowest number can be 0. So if I have a domain D and I have a function fz, if I say my function is analytic and if it have a point something a and f of a is 0, then you close your eye and just you say the minimum value is 0, attaining at point a inside. So minimum can be attained if function is vanishing at some point, because minimum value can be 0 only. But this question becomes not interesting. You can simply calculate. But if function is non-zero, then minima cannot be attained inside and maxima also cannot be attained inside. You think other way around, I will tell you. We have seen our function is analyticity. Analyticity means it is a solid. Alright? So the solid meaning you cannot get if I give you a bricks or see this wall. So definitely if you are taking a coordinate system, so maxima definitely will be here, and because of the symmetricity, minima definitely will come here in the respective of modulus. Alright. So if any function is analytic on domain D, then the max on D, we are going to calculate the boundary of D. Then f is analytic, f is holomorphic on D, then f attains the maxima, f attains its maxima on boundary of D. Okay. Any analytic function attain its maxima on the boundary of the holomorphic domain. The second thing, f attain minima on boundary of D, provided f non-zero for all z belong to D. If fz is 0, if I can ask fz is equal to z square, tell me the minimum value on a disk, unit disk, you will say it simply f0 is equal to 0. So the minimum value is 0. That's all your answer. Okay, so anyway, all right. So if you ask me some example, for example, better you can take some example from here. In your exam, something will be related to the mapping. You don't worry about here. So let us see some question. Take a reason mod z is less than or equal to 2. Find the maxima and minima. Find the maxima and minima. If once you can let me change my marker. Yes. Over this of function fz is equal to 2z plus 5 iota. Okay, calculate. Two z plus 5 iota. This is the 2z. Okay, जी, find out fast. Anyway, so we can write mod z is equal to 2. This means z into z bar is equal to 4, right? We know that this function can attain the maxima on its boundary. So what to do? Just take this boundary, take this number, right? So instead of taking z, just take this whole function. Keep it here, right? Okay. Understand? Just you replace this number, since maxima is happening on the boundary. So what we should do? Just take this is z simply and put it here. That will be your answer. So what to do? Z into z bar you can calculate 2z plus 5 iota into 2z minus 5 iota. Multiply this. Tell me how much it will come out. Solve fast. So 2 to the 4z square plus 25 remaining plus in calculation. जी. So this should be this and this should be z and then it will come out z bar. No. Yes. So it should be here. So definitely z is also complex number. Yes. It will not be matter. Z into z bar it will become minus 5 and then z and minus z bar. Z minus z bar. It should come out the 10. I to the 10 imaginary part. All right. Check. I may be wrong. My very bad. I'm very poor. So, okay. So yes, I think again wrong is there because the minus I inside, so it will be simply minus, right? Or it can be written like this. Yes. Of course, what is this? This is 2 iota time imaginary part of z, right? Z minus z bar. Okay. So yes, tell me. This will come out simply 4z square plus it will be 20 imaginary part of z plus 25. Now put the boundary 4 yeah. This will come out mod z is equal to 2 to the 4 is the 16 plus 25. It will come out your 81 plus 20 imaginary part of the z. That's all. Z into z bar. Right? Anyway, all right. So tell me, this will attain the maxima when this imaginary part is maxima, and where will be the imaginary part is maxima on this region? Mod z is equal to 2. Then imaginary part will be maximum. You tell me. Definitely this will be your maxima. Where will you attain minima? At minus 2 iota. Both are the boundary point, right? So maxima will attain when imaginary part will attain the maxima, and this will be the minima when this should be the minimum. So when the imaginary part of that is minus 2, you can put here minus 2, put here 2, then it will be 40, alright? So you can calculate. So this will be your maxima and the minima. Okay, so what will be value in mainly part if you put the 2? So yes. Anyway, all right now. So whenever you have to calculate the maxima, just whatever function is there, just replace over whatever region is given. Just conclude it at the end. Whatever number will be left, it will give you the maximum or the minimum value. Right? So anyway, we will look at some maximum value or minimum value using the argument principle also. From here, you have to use the same method. Anyway, so this is fine, and here are questions. Yeah, yes, 41, correct. Okay, so yes. So now we can write one very small and interesting topic is Rausi theorem. This is Rausi theorem. In your paper, they usually ask in the B part. Sometime in old time they used to ask, but right now they are not asking. They always ask in the B part only. So the one question always in B part. Also in NBHM. NBHM question will be little more addition that we will discuss later in detail. But let us first discuss the type of the problem for CSIR syllabus. In CSIR syllabus, we will say F and Z belong to the holomorphic on a domain D. So we have two functions, F and G are holomorphic on a region this, on a domain D, then, and also if, yes, so G over F, the modulus is strictly less than 1, right? On a simple closed curve, gamma, then F plus Z and F have same number of zeros within gamma. What is this meaning? Or this, or also we can write if modulus of F is greater than modulus of Z. So here the dominating function is this F. First, to go look the deep analysis about the Rausi theorem. This is a very important and essential. Within Rausi theorem, not telling anything on the gamma. We do not have any freedom to say anything. The location of zeros, we are not telling the location of zeros, we are telling just within gamma. We do not know on the gamma, right? So this is point is you can make it a star. This is the essential for you. Anyways, so what I want to, we can write some example. This is the these are the basic thing. The See, right, fz is equal to z power 5 plus 3z cube plus we can write one number 2, 3. No, it will be 5. No, it will be 7. Then find the zeros of the function on the region z power mod z is equal to 2. All right. So, to test this, we every time what is essential here to find out what is the dominating. And dominating always the choice is f should be single. F should be a single term. Meaning, so everywhere what you have to do that, you have to choose first f. So I can choose f7, I can choose f3 z cube, I can choose f is equal to z power 5. All right. I am choosing here the dominating factor. So if, suppose for example I am choosing this, let us calculate d by f. It is 3z cube plus 7 over z power 5 if you put mod and put z is equal to 2. So this will be 2 power 5 and this will be, I believe it should be strictly less than 1. Is correct? Yes. It should be, I think. You check. It is all right to everyone? If I take f is equal to z power 5, then g by f, this is strictly less than 1. It is correct to everyone? Okay. Yes, so if I am here, I am taking f is equal to z power 5. I am taking the maximum factor. If you put 2 to the power 5, definitely this number will be bigger. In this way, now by the theorem, what we say, f plus g and f have same number of zeros. Okay. Then what will you say? See here, fz is equal to z power 5. This have mod z is equal to 2 on the this disk 0, 2. This f have 0 at z is equal to 0. 5 zeros at z is equal to 0 means the 0 of multiplicity 5. This is a polynomial of degree 5, then it cannot have more than 5 zeros. Otherwise, it will be an identity. This meaning that g by f, the dominating factor is, I have taken the maximum. In this case, this is modulus less than 1. This f have 5 zeros, this have maximum 5 zeros. This implies that f plus g is simply our main answer. So the for your simplicity you can take something else also, because it's not good at to taking I mean here you can do write like h here. So f plus g is equal to h have 5 zeros within unit disk, not unit disk, disk of center 0 radius 2. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Now you apply other. If you the next time you take f is equal to 3z to the power 3. If you apply here, if you are taking this f or this f, then here g by f will be greater than 1. Meaning we cannot apply the Raoult's theorem when f is this and g is this. The only choice is this. So we are telling all the zeros lie begin this unit test. Anybody have any doubt? Please ask. You are free to ask. Okay. If somebody want to look the proof of this, so I will give you a hint. Use this result. Okay. Okay, sorry. 1 over 2 pi iota f dash z over f z into z. This is the argument principle, or some people say you can count also winding number from here also. Summation of ni minus pi. Ni is the number of zeros counting with their multiplicity of the function fz. Pi is the number of poles of the function fz counting with multiplicity. You can use this theorem and prove this Rausi theorems. Using same argument, receive my humble request, go and Google and see these all these nonsense questions based on this Rausi theorem. Anybody can Google or any normal books also, these are things are written. So I believe that wasting time here on the Rausi theorem, it's not good, not for you, for everyone. And so that's all right. And this is the end of your complex analysis. One thing still remains, again I am mentioning this construction. Right? So but for that construction I had already told you, you just remember how under what condition you can send upper half plane to the unit disk, how can send unit half disk, unit to upper half plane, and the remaining part we will take care during our test series. That we will elaborate together. Apart from that, nothing is remains. So the goodbye the complex analysis, and it is my humble request. Please you guys do hard work. Now you are ready. Whenever any student have any query, any kind, welcome. You post in the group. Definitely we will answer you. During class time also I had always recommended to ask the question continuously. And if you ask me that, I had already taken the question, the concept, the standard that already included NVHM, GRE, CSIR, all the possible cases I have already taken, except one thing I didn't mention about the uniform convergence of the power series. That I didn't touch because that the concept of uniform convergence will come in the real analysis. So that will, I mean, this is just theory definition. It is, I thought it will be complete, that's why I didn't discuss. Anyway, hope you enjoy the complex analysis. And the remaining, again, so let us mention again, this was the crash course, not I mean, I just complete as a course. But believe me, the crash course is already involved. We didn't skip anything. We have given you sufficient theory, sufficient knowledge. Right? The only thing is that during time, like if we have a 5 month, 6 month, there our target is to give you the 700 lesson total. And in 700 lesson, when you are getting one lesson a day, na, I mean, you trust me, you will never forget in your whole life. That's what that is the meaning. Okay, thank you guys. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.